Hello, and thank you for joining us for ABC24 This Week. Hopefully you made it through the winter storm safely. You are here for the real stories behind the big stories, and I hope you'll continue to join us every Sunday at 9 a.m. or 10:35 p.m. or on 24+, and be sure to spread the word about our show to your friends too. All right, let's see who's at the table today, both in person and virtually, because this winter storm is still kind of packing our friends here at home. But of course, ABC24 political analyst Otis Sanford. We have Catherine Burgess from MLK 50, a reporter for them, and then Tawan Stout Mitchell, a former Memphis City Schools board member, as well as a former Memphis City Council chair. Always got the titles there, got to get Tawan. Let's get to these topics now. First, Memphis Mayor Paul Young clarifies Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's comments about the federal partnership with the city. Then we'll take a look at the winter weather response across the tri-state, what worked, what didn't, and then lastly, Memphis Shelby County School Board members found a new target for their lawsuit over term limits, and plus we'll double check whether one board member in particular is following code of conduct policies. But back to number one. Tensions are escalating between U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and really everyday people, especially in Minnesota, where two shootings involving ICE agents killed two people. Renee Good, a mother of three, and Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse. Now, both of them were 37 years old. Last week in U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem contrasted the federal partnership with the Minneapolis mayor and Minnesota governor to Memphis Mayor Paul Young.
In other cities and states across the country, we don't see this happen. Local, state, and officials work with us to make sure that we're making their streets safer. I'll point to the city of Memphis, which is where there is a Democrat mayor in place. He worked with us and our federal law enforcement officers, and we saw murder rates drop by 50% because of that partnership. We've seen historic lows in the criminal acts that have happened in that city. We've had the same amount of law enforcement officers there, but a very different result because of the leadership in place.
Now that prompted Mayor Young to give a little more clarity on the city's involvement with ICE on that following Monday.
I also want to address something that came up over the weekend with the Secretary of Homeland Security made a comment that they have been working with the city of Memphis, and I want to clarify. Yes, they have worked with the city of Memphis on addressing violent crime through the Memphis Safe Task Force, but I want to be very clear, there has been no collaboration with ICE on immigration. We know that our Hispanic brothers and sisters of this community have been working really hard. They make up about 9% of our population, the fastest growing population in our community. We want to make sure that as they move about in this community that they feel safe, and so we have been very clear to have that line in the sand where our officers do not assist on immigration in any way.
And let's open it up to discussion now. Otis, lead us off here. So we've seen the Memphis Safe Task Force in Memphis for a bit now. So they've continued to have a certain narrative of how they're impacting the city. Why do you think it was important for Memphis Mayor Paul Young to clarify?
Well, I think, first of all, he's under a lot of pressure here. He's getting it from both sides. We have a governor and U.S. senators who are all in on what the administration is doing here. And so the mayor feels really pressured here. But I think he's trying to parse his words here a little too finely because people can see, and they have seen, that there is some coordination between Memphis police and immigration officers. That's to me, it's obvious. Plus, he said at a meeting with the Hispanic community back in October at a church that they were working with them, although he said what he said there, in that he was trying to steer them toward violent crime and away from immigration, rounding up immigrants. But the fact is, there's been credible reporting around here about Memphis police and immigration people, for example, going to hotels, checking registers without a warrant, looking for people, both undocumented immigrants, fugitives, and whatever. So I think the mayor is trying to, again, walk a fine line here, but the proof shows that the Memphis police is working with the immigration enforcement people, and he does not need to be vilifying the press. He needs to be more transparent and answer more questions.
Most definitely. I want to ask Tawan here. Yes, Tawan, I wanted to ask you about just Kristi Noem making an example of Memphis. What are your thoughts of the way that she's trying to kind of use the federal occupation here to set a precedent for other cities that may be having different reactions?
I think she had no regard for what it would do to Mayor Young politically, but I do want to say this. Two things can be true at the same time, my daughter said to me. He set out a command to his police chief, I guess, that they would not be involved in any police activity except for those involving violent criminal activity. But the practice, if you will look at Facebook on Hunter, we have videographers too, just like Minnesota. And we have people who are out like Hunter Dempster, who has taken video, and you see police involvement. One was a simple traffic stop. And the police then called the federal ICE officials. And the simple traffic stop was really, according to that reporting, was really not valid because the tags were not out of date. But yet she was detained. A Hispanic woman was detained, and ICE came on the scene. So there is some cooperation in practice, but it's not in command, his command. And somehow I just keep hearing Barbara Swearingen where you have to inspect what you expect. And somebody needs to take a look at what is going on in practice and make sure the message of the command center is in sync and that there is some accountability when people violate those commands.
That's definitely a good point there. Now, Catherine, you've done a lot of reporting on this. You tipped me off to one instance where Hunter Dempster was on the scene. What do you have to say about Kristi Noem's statistics about violent crime or murders being down 50%? What can you give to validity to those comments?
Well, first of all, crime was already down before the task force got here. Second of all, crime is down nationwide. So I think attributing it all directly to the task force, and I'm very skeptical of her 50% percentage there, but attributing it all to the task force is, I think, a very flawed narrative that needs to be dug into much more deeply. Second, I'd love to talk a little bit about what the mayor said regarding ICE, because I have been out and about. I have followed task force officials while they've done stops, and I'm thinking back to a very recent arrest that I watched. I was not on the clock. I was getting gas at a gas station in my neighborhood, and I watched about 6 Memphis Police Department officers arrest a man and put him in a Memphis police vehicle. And what stood out to me was that off to the side were 2 National Guard members, and then off to the other side was a Homeland Security individual. And in this case, it wasn't an immigration stop. But if there had been any question of that man's immigration status, HSI was right there and could have popped in. So you might not have the Memphis Police Department asking the question of what's your immigration status, but you have that collaboration where somebody from ICE or HSI is right there and able to move in, and they have not stopped doing immigration enforcement.
Pepper?
Go ahead. Yes.
I want to also mention the fact, I thank you for that, Catherine. And I want to also mention that I think Mayor Young made a bad move by picking a fight with journalists, too.
Right.
Mark Paraskia and Don Connolly are some of the best journalists we have, except for the company of Otis Sanford. They are close second. And Catherine Burgess, they are close second. But they are some of the best journalists we have. They are award-winning journalists. And often, Mark Paraskia's work is so respected that the FBI and attorneys use his articles in the cases on the federal government. So I don't want to question the integrity of the reporters here. It's a disconnect. And like I said, 2 things can be true. He wanted this, but this is going on in practice.
Well, if that's the case, though, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt of that, but he is the mayor. And if he wanted it to happen, he would go to Chief Davis and anybody else in the police department and say, this should not happen.
That's right.
Apparently, he has not done that. And to Juan's point, you know, he's calling news organizations, MLK 50 and the Institute, giving out misinformation and poor journalism. And you can't win that argument because the facts are the facts.
And that's a good note. All right, we're going to have to put a pin on that one. When we come back, we're going to talk about winter weather, storm response across the tri-state, what worked, what didn't. We'll get into it. Stay with us.